the 2nd of September, Rabbi Levitt, Gemorra.
Welcome back. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning. I'll be back in a minute. I'm going to change my glasses.
Okay. So let's see what we have over here. Oh, so we are right in the middle. Boy, Rabba. Rabba had a question. Sheves Apochadato, the dummy. Oh, what's the din? If the if the victim had a, this is on 85B, towards the bottom of the page, 4 lines from the bottom, and we're gonna read over this Gemorra again and go and continue. So Rabbi asked a question. Boy, Rabbi, he wants to know what is Sheves Apochadato B'domim Mahu. What does that mean? He has a work loss as a result of his injury, and Apochadato B'domim, and it also made him pachot. It reduced his damim. It reduced his value as an eved in the shuk. Okay, meaning to say basically that there's a payment of nezek to be paid as well. So Rabbi has a question. What's the din? Is he chayav to pay for the nezek? What's the exact? This was we didn't know exactly what the question was. Let's without getting too hung up in this. So Rabbi has a question over here. It's not really clear from the Gemorra what is his question. I don't know if Rashi explains his question. There's a long Rashi over here. Oh, okay, so that's the deal. Rashi's going into this, and we did not go into this Rashi yet. So, so maybe we should go into this Rashi. See, there's a Rashi over here about 12 lines down from 12 lines up from the bottom of the Rashis. Sheves Hapochadato B'domim. There's a long Rashi over here explaining what exactly is Rabbi's question. So, you gentlemen want to split up this Rashi?
Okay.
I think it's probably too much for any one person to do.
I mean, I got a lot of noise in the background, but I'm not sure we're up to that in the Gemorra yet.
Yeah. According to my records, no. Because right after that, the Gemorra asked the question. Oh, we didn't do this part?
What we just did. What is the law regarding an injury that causes loss of employment and that temporarily reduces the victim's value? Is the assailant liable for the temporary loss of value?
Wait a second.
And then,
Okay, what day is today? Is
Thursday.
Thursday. And I was here yesterday. I don't remember us getting this far in the Gemara. We were doing it where I thought we stopped was the question about whether or not it was the one-by-one payment or you can pay them all at once. They had to work with
Oh,
one
very
thing.
good.
That's where I think we stopped.
Phil is on the ball.
And we were up to the Rava Nafkamine. What's the difference between them?
Ah, this is Boy Rabba. We were learning Boy Rava. Okay, Phil is right. Phil is right, and I am wrong. So let's go to where we really were. We were in Boy Rava, Kotes Yado, which is a few lines up from there, right?
It's on 85B3, left-hand column, second paragraph. The Gemara now asks,
And we read that one paragraph. We never got an answer on that. That was the question of is it the same if we do it evaluate each thing separately? Because things are happening. First, we're breaking the arm, then the leg, then the eye, and then we're making them deaf. So do we take each evaluation separately or only make one assessment at the end of the value?
Right. Okay. All right. Well. Okay, so that was the case. So now the Gemara, we're continuing now with Nafkamina.
Yeah.
What's going to be the Nafkamina if we make the calculation just in one time, or we make it each time? Did we do that, Rashi? Chada amdinan? Or we did that, Rashi? Okay, so let's read the Gemorra Nafkamina, and then there's a Rashi on that. What? Okay, so Alan, please read for us Nafkamine.
Nafkamine. The halakhic difference between the two methods of assessment is the Devor A who may save away, say R over Shes, Dechor, Kador, not Vachador. Whether the assailant needs to give the victim payment for the pain and humiliation of each and every injury, Nehid Nesek, read Fu, the Sheves, the Chol, Kador, Vachador, Ro, Yochanan, what way? For example, granted that we do not award the victim payment for the damage, healing, and loss of employment of each and every injury. The K, Yochiv, way, Demi, Kuwait. For once the assailant gives him the payment of his entire value, Kamain, the Katlay, Dormi, he is like one who killed the victim. Before your chief, way, the may, ko way, and has given him the payment of his entire value. Sa'ar uvo shes, Michas, the core, Kador, However, it is possible that he must give restitution for at least the pain and humiliation of each and every injury. The war, way, Sa'ar, Uvo Shes, for he had pain and humiliation each time.
Okay, so you hear what the Gemara is saying over here? The Gemara takes on like this. Granted that as far as the payment for this, his embarrassment and shame, his boshus, and his suffering and pain that he had, pain and suffering, those two payments of boshus and sar, he should be given that for each instance of attack and injury that he suffered, because it was a separate suffering of pain and shame and embarrassment each time it was done. But as far as the doctor bills, the out of work of each time that occurred, that he was out of work and that he had to pay doctor bills for the injury that was suffered, lo yavin le. We're not going to give him that.
What are you reading now?
I'm just paraphrasing what the Gemorra's said, just that we could review exactly what the Gemorra is saying. Because that is all part of the Demei Kule. That's part of the whole payment that he's going to receive as for his Nezik calculation. Commanded Katle Dame. It's like they took his life. And they gave him, and the assailant has to give him the damages for a healthy Evid in the shuk. What would a healthy Evid in the shuk be sold for? That's what they're going to give him. The Mekule. That's going to be paid. So, but the Gemorra concludes the payment for the tsar and the boshes, however, of each time, the assailant should have to also give him that, in addition to the payment of the nezik for a whole evid that's sold in the shuk, because he had tsar and boshes on all those different times that he was attacked and injured. Okay, that's what the Gemorra, just paraphrasing what the Gemorra has said so far. Okay, so now let's take a look at what Rashi has to say about this. Nafkamina. Ibra Maskal Nafkamina.
Nafkamina. Will make learn from it to give the tsar and boshus to hold for each one. Of our repui, because it's only talking about giving the pain and the boshus, the pain and the embarrassment for each thing. Of our repui, but the healing, lo shahari.
No.
You don't. Repui, no. You don't give for the healing amount. Shahari lo nitra peh bein tayim, because he didn't get healed in the interim.
What?
He wasn't healed in the interim, so you have to.
Oh, there was no What's that?
You
There was no doctor bills at all.
We have to wait to the end until it's complete. It's not complete because it may happen again and again and again. And then shevet low, and you don't give them the amount for the wages also. Shahari notain lo demei call ma shahaya, because you give him the value of everything that there was, shum from the beginning. Baharihu evdo, and that is his service.
Baharihu avdo. Okay, so there was no There was no doctor bills because he didn't go to the doctor before he was attacked the second time and the third time and the fourth time.
This doesn't make any sense to me. If you get your hand cut off and then you get your leg cut off, etc., and then you get blind, you get whatever the last one was, you still have a severed hand and a severed leg that have to be treated.
Oh, afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you can't just leave the person with those injuries and not do anything. He'll get infected and die.
Mhm.
But that's why you're giving the value of the whole person.
Something we're
That's
missing.
what
over
we're
here.
claiming.
You're
Giving
gonna
the
kill
whole
him?
value.
You're gonna pay him and kill him?
No, you're going to pay him the value, his whole value. You don't need individual steps along the way. Give him the whole value of what
The
he is.
value takes care of the fact that he's out of the action, but it doesn't take care of the fact that he has to pay a doctor.
They're saying the doctors are not part of it. Why did they say the doctors are not part of it? Just give a reason. The doctors are not part of it because he will heal him in the meantime.
It says because he didn't heal him in between. And what I'm saying is, but he's got to heal him at the end anyway. Got to heal him sometime.
But if you're giving him a full value, who cares what what amount the healing was? You're giving him his full value. The full value should include the healing.
That's not what Rashi says. Rashi says because he didn't get healed in between.
Which is why you don't have to pay him along the steps. You wait till the end. The question was, do we need to pay him each time to heal from one thing and then heal from the other thing and heal from the other thing, or only wait to the end? Here we can wait to the end and give him his full value. The healing in between is meaningless.
Let's take a look at Tosos Divrei Maskil Nehi. Nehi the Nezek v'Ripui v'Sheves v'Kol Chad v'Chad Lo Yohiv Le. Says Tosos. Anybody want to read Tosos? Or should I read it?
It says Koloma, as if to say, but
No, not that Tosos. Tosos Divrei Maskil Nehi.
That's a long Tosos.
Yeah, well, let's just get the question that he's got. I think he's going to deal with our issue right away.
I think you should read it, Rabbi.
What?
Too complicated for us. I think you should read it.
Okay. Okay, so instead of you getting stuck in the complications, I'll get stuck in the complications. All right.
Yeah, but you'll go through faster and
Yeah.
it'll be less confusing.
Okay. Okay, so says Tosus Tema. This Gemorra is a wonder. Bishlema Nezik B'Sheves. Din Shalo Yitain. It's understandable that the payment for Nezek and Sheves, the payment of Nezek is the value of the Eved sold in the shuk. And Sheves is a work loss, compensation. Din Shalo Yitain. The din makes sense that he shouldn't give him for the Shevis. Shekol zeh b'chlal demei kuloi. Because the payment of the nezek for each individual injury and the work loss that accompanied it is included in demei kuloi, in the whole value of the eved which is being given to him. Ela ripui, but when it comes to the matter of Dr. Bills, lama pshitale sheyu b'chlal demei kuloi. Why does the Gemorra take on that it's so pashut that that ripui is lama pshitale sheyu b'chlal demei kulo? Why is it so pashut to the Gemorra that the doctor bills are included in the demei kuloi, the whole value of the eved that it's going to be paid to this person? Yoter mitzar v'boshis. Any more so than the pain and suffering and the shame and embarrassment that he suffered as a result of each attack and injury. There was, I think, 4 separate times that he was attacked and injured, and we're saying in regard to those two, it's clear to the Gemorra that those 2 payments will have to be paid on top of the payment of demei kulo, in addition to the payment of demei kulo. Ask Tosos, why does the Gemorra think that it's so pashut that the payment for doctor bills should be any different than the payment of the pain and suffering and the shame and embarrassment? That's Lou's question, right there.
Yeah, that's my question.
Okay, so Ashrecha you lechabed the Tosos. Okay, so what does Tosos going to say about this? Tosos has a very simple solution to this problem. Says Tosos, Venira, one second, I have a correction on this word. Near Dekan, sorry, Glomar Teba Chacha, the Samach. Let's see. Nira de Goris Ripui Bahade Tsaro Boshis. Below Bahade Nezik Shebes. Says Tostos, you know what we got to do? We have to change the text of our Gemorra. Tostos says that the text of our Gemorra, which groups the payment of Ripui together with Shevis and Nezek, is a mistake. The word Ripui should be grouped together with the words Boshis and Tsar, meaning that the Gemorra should be saying that it is that that granted that those 3 payments he will be given, in spite of the fact that he's being paid demei kuloi for the whole eved being sold in the shuk. Granted that he will be given pain and suffering for every time, and he will be given boshis for every time that he suffered boshis from all the attacks, and he will likewise be given ripui, expenses for healing. And so the only things that he's not going to be given is the nezek and the shevis of each time, because that is all included in the payment of demei kula. So That's what Tosfos says over here. Then Tosfos gets more complicated over here. Okay, let's take a stab at it. We'll see what if we can figure out what it is that Tosfos says. But that's the basic point over here. Tosfos says that we got two categories over here in regard to the payments. Those that are going to be included in the Demei Kulu and those that are not included in the Demei Kulu. And Tosfos says there's no doubt in his mind that the payment for doctor bills is included in the group that you got to pay that on top of the Demei Kulu. Not part of the group that you don't have to pay it because it's included in Demei Kulu. It's not included in Demei Kulu. Okay, but that's right. As everybody is saying, that is not the end of the Tosfos. Maybe let's, I'm not ducking out of this Tosfos. I don't mean to avoid this Tosfos, but maybe after having seen at least what Tosfos says so far, we can now go ahead and continue with the Gemorra, because the Gemorra is not through over here with its analysis. So before we go into Tosfos' analysis of the Gemorra, maybe we should go and take a look at the Gemorra's analysis.
Sounds good.
Okay. So now we are up to the Imtim Saloimar. So, Roy, would you like to read the Imtim Saloimar?
Timsi Lama, and if after considering my question, you conclude Dali Duhu, that since the judges did not assess the victim after each inquiry, Ka Yahiv Le Demei Kulei Bahadi Hadare. Since you did not assess the victim after each injury, the assailant indeed gives him the payment of the entire value altogether. Umaduhu Mahu, what is the law if they did assess him after each inquiry, but the assailant never gave any payment? Me Amarin Kivan de Amaduhu Amaduhu, do we say that since they assessed him after each inquiry, Hadar Ba'i Masiv Lay, that the assailant is required to give him restitution one by one, that is, in separate payment.
Oh, Dilma. Somebody's frozen. Who's frozen?
Roy, are you frozen? Yep, he's frozen.
Oh boy.
Alan, are you frozen? Oh, Alan's frozen too.
Alan? No?
Oh, no, Alan's moving. Just Roy.
Oh boy.
He'll probably
Okay.
come out and come in.
Okay, so Lou, you want to take over with the reading in the meantime?
Okay,
Oh, here he is. Here's Roy again.
here's Roy.
Okay, Roy.
I'll probably
Come
be
back, Roy.
saying
That was a quick comeback, Roy, that you made.
I didn't make it, the computer did it, so I just waited. So They didn't assess the victim after each payment. So I don't know where I'm up to now with you.
So we want to know now, Duhu. Let's say that the case was that they made an appraisal after each injury.
So
But now we have a question. What's our question? Me,
Amarinan, Kivin, to Amar Duhu. Do we say that since I assessed him after each injury, the assailant is required to give him restitution one by one, that is in separate payments? We do that? Or Dulima Kivan Delo Shirley, or perhaps that since he is not yet paid, Yahiv Yahiv Levy the Kula, the assailant gives the victim the payment of his entire value altogether. And the Gemorra just wants to let it rest. Tickle. Let the question stand unanswered.
Okay. Do we have any Rashi? We have no Rashi.
I have a footnote that says, as in all monetary cases where the law is in doubt, the halacha follows a lenient approach. So here, the assailant makes only one payment of the victim's full value. However, should the latter seize from the assailant assets in the amount of the payments for pain and humiliation for each injury, the court does not take it from him.
That's what I don't understand, though. I thought we're saying that. I thought the Gemorra said, in any case, the payment for Boshis and Sar is going to be made even if he's going to give Demei Kula. That doesn't exempt him from Sar and Boshis.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'm not following what it really is the practical difference between making these payments after each in increments or making the one big payment, because we said Demei Kulo is just going to be the sum total of all of the all the nezik. He's just becoming less. Yeah.
When you say lenient, though, the concept is it's easier to make only one payment at the end than have to stop and evaluate each time. So it's easier to do one evaluation at the end than each step of 4 evaluations after each thing happened.
Yeah, but is the guy paying the same amount either way?
Yeah, but it's making so it's easier. So the question is, which do you do? The question is, you can let him do the one payment, the one evaluation, and save him the trouble of having to do 4 evaluations.
There's 2 problems with what you're saying, Phil. One is they already did the evaluations. So you can't.
That's just the question. This is the whole thing is a question. Do we do one evaluation at the end, or do we do individuals? That's what this whole Gemorra.
That's not what the question is. The question is, we already did all the evaluations. Now, but we didn't collect the money. Now, do we collect one sum of money, or do we collect all the sums of money? Evaluations are done already.
I think the original question is, do we evaluate each one?
No, look at what it says.
Go back to the page before you get Rob's answer. The end question is whether do we say that now we've assessed the victim, one assessment is enough, and he gives him the payment at the end altogether, or perhaps we assess the increase one by one, awarding the payment for each. That was the question. The question is whether we do one assessment or 4 individual assessments.
Look.
And then they ask, what's the difference between doing one assessment and individual assessments. And the reason they ask that is because it breaks up into cases. It's not the same, that we definitely do individual assessments for SAR and BOSIS. We definitely do individual assessments. Repui is a question according to Tosfos, whether we do, which category it's connected to. But in terms of the other things, the Shevis and the Nezek, that we're all agreeing, that's where the questionable fact is. Is it one at the end or is it one in the beginning? Or is it individual steps?
Look at the top of the left-hand column on 85B4. It says, what is the law if they did assess him after each injury, but the assailant never gave any payment?
Okay.
They did assess him after each injury.
Okay, so this is another question. This is the second question. The second question is if we
Oh.
do the assessments,
Correct.
when does he get paid? Does he get paid all at once? Does he only get paid at the end? And the answer to that question is tekel, according to the
That's right.
Gemorra. Now the tekel, according to the Gemorra, the footnote is saying, well, what in the case of here, the lenient approach is to do it at the end. So the second question.
Right, so the rabbi is asking, what's the difference?
Difference when you give them the money. You give them the part along the way, what do you give them at the end only?
But we said earlier that even if we assess the full value, he still gets pain and humiliation.
Oh, he's still gonna get that for each one, right? That we know.
So what's the difference?
The difference of the other cases, the Nezek and the Repui and the Shevis. It's remember, there are 5 payments. The Tsar and the Boshis are out of it. That is definitely each one, because each time you do something, there's a Tsar of its own and a Boshis of its own. But the other case, we're not getting to it, because once you get to the Nezek, the Nezek, once you've done all 5, the guy's worthless, because we're starting off with an arm, then a leg, then an eye. No, it's 4. An arm, a leg, an eye, and then the cherish. And once we get to a cherish, he's considered worthless. You got to give him his full value at cherish state. That's totally considered. It's totally, I'm not trying to minimize the pain or whatever from cases. It's like a total loss. It's like you get a car accident and somebody hits one fender and somebody hits the back and somebody hits this, but then there's the total. So this is the total question at the end. If he's got the total, he gets the total at the end. And you don't have to first pay him for the fender first, and then pay him for the trunk, the front end, and then pay him for the back end. You don't have to give him the total loss at the end. Because different things are happening.
Is it possible that if you look at it bit by bit, that there would be a change in the value over if you don't do it quickly enough? That there'll be inflation or something like that. Whereas if you did it all at once, that's it. So it wouldn't necessarily be the same, or is that insignificant?
I would say yes, there is a difference. It's going to cost more if you take individual assessments.
Why is it going to cost more if you make individual assessments?
Wouldn't you have to pay each time for the people who are managing it?
There's a certain amount of overhead. When you go to the doctor, you've got to pay for the secretary, and you got to pay for the consultation fee, and et cetera, et cetera. Some of those things will be combined in the one visit, where he heals the foot, the hand, et cetera. So the overall bill will be less than if he came on Tuesday and got one fixed, and then he came on Thursday and got another fixed. Just like with a plumber. If a plumber comes out to your house, he charges you a fee for coming out to your house. If you get 3 things fixed when he comes out, it's cheaper than if you got 3 separate visits. because you save on those visit fees.
And if it takes them 3 times to fix one thing, you go get another plumber.
Usually if they're already in the midst, they don't charge you the fee again, but if you call them separate times, they will.
Hmm.
You're paying for him having to drive out to your house and drive back to his office. If he only has to do that once for 3 repairs, then he's gonna charge you less.
You're in and out again with your sound level, Lou.
Woohoo!
I hear him. It's your hearing, Roy. Sorry.
Oh. What was that?
Sorry,
Okay.
Roy.
Roy didn't hear that.
What?
What?
It's too much. The colo is making too much noise, Roy.
Okay.
Only a little tap. Can you hear it? You can't hear it.
Roy, what are you gonna what are you gonna do when they finally finish the colo and then all the young colo fellows come in and start learning over there? Then you're gonna really know what noise is all about. Have you ever heard 50 people yelling all at the same time?
Oh, I'll go down and tell them to be quiet.
12:30.
12:30. Okay.
I
Well,
have to go. And also, I'm going to be Sunday. We have things with the doctors, so I'm not going to be here then. And we have Rosh Hashanah is coming, so I want to wish everybody a chativa tova. Should all have well
amen.
and briut and osher and be well, everybody.
Yeah, to you too and your
Thank you.
family. Phil. To you and to your
Good
wife. and family.
to Phil.
See you next year.
Ezrat Hashem.
All right.
And your
So
wife,
Rabbi, are we learning on normal schedule on Sunday?
Sunday, what Rosh Hashanah is on Monday night. So I think that we'll be able to do Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Have a great day.
Okay. Yashikoyach to everybody.
Okay, bye for now. Bye.
Bye, Lou. Bye, Alan. Bye,